Let's take a look at how we calculate binomial probabilities when we're looking at a cumulative situation where there's more than one probability involved. So in this situation, we have 10 trials and the probability of an individual success is 0.3. So if I want to calculate at most 3 successes, what I could do is use the binom PDF function in your calculator, calculate the probability of 0 successes, plus 1 success, plus 2 successes, and then plus 3 successes. So we want to calculate those 4 probabilities and then add them together, but that seems like a lot of work. So rather than doing that, what I'm going to do, I look at my binomial distribution. We're talking about 0 successes, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. So I want to find the total of these 4 probabilities that we have here. So in order to do that, we have the binom for binomial CDF function. So the C stands for cumulative. If we're adding together several probabilities, we can use this function in order to calculate the probability of from 0 to a certain number of successes. So I'm going to put in the value of n, which is 10. I put in the value of p, which is 0.3, and then I put in the value of the maximum number of successes, and in this case, that is 3. So what I'm calculating here is the probability of 0 to 3 successes, and it's always this maximum number that we put here. So when I put this into the calculator, I get 0.6496. And that's how you would calculate that. So that's the most straightforward of these cumulative probabilities. Now let's take a look at another situation. Here I want to calculate the probability of fewer than 5 successes. So I start off by saying, well, how many is that? That could be 0, or 1, or 2, or 3, or 4. Fewer than 5 can't include 5, so we're going to just add up those 5 probabilities now. So we're going to find the probability of 0 to 4 successes, and now that I've figured out that I only want to go up to 4, that's my maximum number, this is going to be just like the one we just did. So I'm going to do binom CDF, 10 trials, probability of success is 0.3, and the maximum number of successes is 4. And when I put that into the calculator, I get 0.8497. So if I look at this histogram, it looks like that's about 85%. So that makes sense. You don't always have a histogram to look at, but if you do, you can see where that makes sense. Now let's take a look at some more complicated problems. Here I want to find the probability of more than 2 successes. So that means that I need to start at 3, has to be more than 2. So anything that's more than 2 is going to work, and we go all the way up to the number of trials, which is 10. So this is the probability of 3 to 10 successes. The problem is that the binomial CDF function only allows you to start at 0. So we want to go from 3 to 10. So in order to be able to use the calculator to find this, what I'm going to do is say, well, what's the opposite of that? And that would be, in this case, 0 to 2. So I'm going to turn this into 1 minus the probability of 0 to 2 successes. So now I can put this into the calculator, 1 minus binomial CDF, 10 trials, probability of success 0.3, and the maximum number of successes is 2. And what do we get for that? 0.6172. So we're actually getting these bars all added together. There is a bar here and here. They're just so small you can't really see them. You may not be able to see this one either. But we go from 3 to 10 on there, and the calculator will calculate it by doing 1 minus 0 to 2. So we've got that, and now there's one more type that we have. And here we're looking at the probability of at least 5 successes. So you may want to pause the video at this point and see if you can figure this one out. But I'm going to go ahead and solve it now. So at least 5 successes means we need 5 or more than 5. So rather than trying to memorize a formula for these, I would say just know that the probability of 0 to X successes you calculate by using that binomial CDF function, and then just sometimes realize that you need to do 1 minus for this type of problem where it doesn't start at 0. So this is the probability of 5 to 10 successes, and we're going to calculate that by doing 1 minus the probability of 0 to, I look at 5 was where we started here, so I don't want to overlap. So I'm going from 0 to 4. Okay. So this is going to be 1 minus binomial CDF. Start at 10, or 10 is the number of trials, I should say. And probability of success is 0.3. And then the maximum number of successes is 4. And when we calculate this, we can see this is going to be a smaller probability because it's just these bars added together. And we get 0.1503 when we round to 4 places. So that's how you calculate those probabilities.